with a digital device. Where do we find all these traces? And these are found inside a system where the traces of an attack could be fetched, and the logs contain most of those traces. So logs are the digital footprints that are left behind by any activity, and pretty much every activity that is done on a computer or on some kind of device generates a log item. And it could be normal or it could be malicious. So tracing down the activity and the individual based on the execution of that activity becomes easier because of logs. So the use cases of logs are a lot. These are just a handful, I would say. Obviously, you can monitor security events, so they help us detect anomalous behavior when real-time monitoring is used. Incident investigation and forensics. So these are the traces of every kind of activity. So the logs themselves hold traces of everything, and there's details on what happened during the incident. So the security team uses those logs to perform the analysis of the root cause of that incident. Troubleshooting is also a very, very key element. Troubleshooting is done a lot using logs to try to find out what the error was in the system or the application, and to obviously diagnose whatever the issues are and actually help in fixing those issues. We can also use logs to monitor performance, and we can also use logs to complete auditing exercises and to make sure that we are compliant with the various regulations that would govern our industry. So there's governance, there's regulations, there's compliance. All of those things can also be done with logs, especially when an auditor comes in and they want to make sure that you're actually being compliant. They will look at your logs to see what kind of data you're collecting, how frequently you're collecting them, etc. So what we're going to do inside of this video is we're going to go through the various types of logs and how they're maintained, and we're going to actually investigate a couple of logs as well. So the objective here is to learn about the different types, how to analyze the logs, analyze Windows events and web access logs, and where can we find the majority of attacks. I bet you guessed it already. It is inside of the log. So let's talk about the types of logs. So imagine you have to investigate an issue in a system through the logs, and you open the log file of that system, and you can see that there's a bunch of stuff inside of that log file, and it can get overwhelming very quickly. So logs are segregated into multiple categories according to the type of information they provide. And now you just need to look into the specific log file that causes the issue that you're trying to solve, right? Or that holds the information that you're looking for. So if you want successful logins from yesterday at a specific time frame, then you would look at the security logs essentially. And there's also something called the authentication logs. Those can also be used as well. So instead of looking at everything, you would go to the specific category that actually holds the information that you would need. So these are the various types of logs that we have. So the syslogs or the system logs can help with running issues or fixing issues in the operating system. They provide information on various operating activities. So the system startup and shutdown, driver loading, system error, hardware, all of those events are inside of this syslogs, system logs. We have the security logs that help detect and investigate incidents. They provide information on security related activities. So these are the authentication, authorization, security policy changes, user account changes, abnormal activity, all of those events. We have application logs that are specific to any individual application, and they're either interactive or non-interactive activity happening inside the application will be logged here. So you have user interaction, application update, application changes, and application error events. You have the audit logs that provide information on system changes and user events. These logs are helpful for compliance requirements and can play a vital role in security monitoring as well, because you can actually see the user events or system changes that were done by a malicious actor. These would be inside of the audit log. So access to data, right? So when was a certain file opened, for example? Data access, system changes, user activity. policy enforcement, all of those events are inside the audit. The network log provides information about the actual network connection, so outgoing and incoming traffic. And this is good for troubleshooting network issues and to obviously go through incident response investigations. So incoming network, outgoing network, network connections, and network firewall logs are just all under the network logs. And we have, of course, the access logs that provide detailed information about the access to the different resources. And they are different as well because it could be the web server, the database, the application, or an API that was accessed. So access logs can also go in a wide range of different environments as well. There are various other types of logs. This is not the all-inclusive list, right? There's literally probably a few dozen other types of logs. It just depends on the system or application or the operating system that you're actually using. So now that we understand what they are and what they can be done, we are going to actually look at how we can analyze them and extract information from them. And log analysis is a technique that we would do to, extract the valuable data that we need. So it involves looking for signs of abnormal or unusual activities, searching for specific activity or anomalies in the logs. And doing that with the naked eye is impossible because there are thousands, if not millions, of events, especially depending on the size of the network or how many users are there. So we have manual and automated techniques for log analysis. The manual techniques would be most likely done through a command line. Automated techniques would be done through some kind of a tool that we would use that is specific to dealing with logs. So we're going to do log analysis on Windows and web servers in the next couple of minutes. So which type of log contains information regarding the incoming and outgoing traffic? And that would be the network logs. Which type of log contains the authentication and authorization events, and these would be our security logs. And that's it. So let's look at Windows event logs analysis. The Windows operating system is very similar to every other operating system in the sense that there are a lot of different segregated log files that would address different types of activities on a Windows machine. So things like the application logs, where there are many applications running on the system and information related to them is logged into this file, and it includes errors, warnings, compatibility issues, etc. The system logs has to do with the actual operating system itself and the various running operations. Any information related to those is logged in the syslog. Information includes driver issues, hardware issues, system startup and shutdown information, services information, and then we have security, which is the most important log in terms of our purposes, which is cybersecurity, which is this whole channel is about cybersecurity. So it logs all security related activities, including user authentication, changes in user accounts, security policy changes, etc. Now, most of these things are actually handled inside something called the event viewer, right? So obviously we have other log files as well. So I'm not gonna just kind of assume that that's the only type. Just always keep in mind that there's other log types unless you're looking at a full list of logs, which is very, very hard to narrow down because it depends on the operating system and the application, etc. So most of the other logs that we looked at in the previous section had no built-in application to view them. Windows, however, is very friendly with this because they actually have an internal application that comes with every Windows installation. And it's called the Event Viewer. And it has a GUI, a graphical user interface, to view and search for anything and filter through them, etc. So we can actually just either search for Event Viewer or click on the startup button and type Event Viewer, and it'll open it up. And this is exactly what it looks like. And then things are narrowed down by events typically. So there's always the description, log name, logged, and then event ID. So the description obviously has the detailed information of the activity. The log name indicates which log file it actually belongs to. The logged is the time of the activity, so when it was logged. And the event ID are the unique identifiers for the specific types of activities. And usually when we're filtering something, we will use event IDs. So 4624 would be the activity of a successful login, right? So if you search for that, then you can narrow down everything to all successful logins. 4625 is the account failed to log in. 4634, account successfully logged off. 4720, account was created. 4724, an attempt was made to reset the account's password. 4722, user account was enabled. 25, account was disabled. And 26, account was deleted. These are very specific to all things cybersecurity. So if somebody created a new account, it could potentially be that somebody got access to our network and now they're creating a new user account to give themselves free reign and allow them to move around in the system, right? So, or they create a user account so that they can come back as a part of persistence so that they can re-log into the system and not have to actually hack us again. They would actually use a credential that they created to come back into the system, right? So these are very, very important elements. And essentially, you can go through the chronological order of these, right? So a user account was successfully logged in, or it was failed to log in. So multiple failed logins would be a brute force attack attempt, and then finally they were able to log in. That means they were successful, and then they finally logged out. But while they were there, they created a new user account, and then they reset so what we do is we do the filter log or filter current log feature so that we can actually apply the event IDs that we want. And then once we have that, we just put the event ID inside the event ID section and it'll actually do it. So I'm going to demonstrate all this. That's why I'm kind of breezing through this. Once you apply your filter, all of the event IDs that are actually viewed are then going to be those specific event IDs, as we can see right here. The event ID actually changes and you only see the event IDs that you were searching for. So let us see here. This actual exercise is what we're going to be doing. This scenario is that on Friday, a critical organization reported being a victim of a cyber attack upon investigation. The critical data was exfiltrated from a file server in the organization network. The security team was successful in determining the username and IP address of the compromised system in the network, which had access to the file server at the time of the attack. We need to find out the activities of the attacker in his compromised system before he took access to the file server. So we're going to launch our virtual machine, which I've already done. You can also log into it via VPN and remote desktop by using these credentials. You would need to have a paid account with TryHackMe in order to be able to pull this off. I'm just using my web browser to launch the virtual machine, so I'm not going to be doing the VPN or RDP login, but this is available in case you want to do it. This IP address changes every single time that you start this room and then you start that virtual machine. So this is not going to be an IP address that by the time that you watch this, this IP address is not going to be up. Even if you have a paid account with TryHackMe, it's just not going to, maybe it will be, but I highly doubt that it'll be up. And if it is up, it's going to be for a different room inside of TryHackMe. So just keep that portion in mind. You need a VPN connection to TryHackMe to be able to remote desktop into it, and then you need your own IP address that's been assigned for this room when you're running it. So that being said, we are going to now answer these questions with our event viewer. So I'm going to try to see if it'll work if I just kind of keep it in split screen. If not, we'll just go full screen with this whole thing. So we're just going to type event viewer, and this is obviously going to be a little bit slow, I imagine. I should probably close all my other browsers too. Let me close all the other browsers, make sure I'm not using too much bandwidth here. All right, so here we go. Event viewer is officially up. So now, this seems to be a security event. So they had access to the file server. Security team was determining the username and IP address of the compromised system. They haven't given that information to us. So all we have is just the series of questions that are going to lead us through this investigation. There's one hint over here that says the subject details inside the user account creation log is when we actually go through the user account created. So really what we're going to be doing is we're going to be filtering these based on the event IDs that we just saw, because it says, what is the name of the last user account created, which user account created the above account, on what date was that user account enabled, and did this account undergo a password reset as well. So all of those event IDs have been given to us right here. So we're going to most likely be using those specific event IDs. And we need to first go into the section for the security logs. So I'm going to try to zoom in here. And so we have our Windows logs, and when we expand this, we have application, security, setup, system, etc. So we're going to click on security, and it's going to update the middle pane right here, and it's going to show us all of the items, all of the events that are inside of the security log. And total number of events right now is 991 without any filters being applied. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to filter current log, and it's going to open up a new window for us. And then the first question is what user account that was created on the system, the last one, so meaning the most recent one that was created. So we want to see which user account was created, and that would be 4720. So we're going to go here where it says all event IDs, and we're going to type in 4720, and then we're going to go down here and we're going to click OK, and then all of those items that we had, the 991 items, have now been narrowed down to 3 items. The number of events are 3. So the last one, the most recent one, they were all done on the same day, but we're going to look for the one that is the most recent, which I would say is 12/56/27 is the most recent date and time. So we open this thing up right here, and now we need to find the name of the information that was created. So we have the general information, and then we also need to have the actual user information that was was created. So let's look at details and let's see what else we can find here. Okay, so I had to restart Event Viewer because it crashed on me when I tried to look at details. So I think there are some permissions that or configurations that are not allowing me to do it. So I'm going to filter this one more time by the event ID of our specific situation, and then we're going to look at the bottom area right here to try to find that information. So this is the most recent event. We have a click on right here. Inside of this area, it gives us a little bit of information, and new account is right there, and it says the account name is also available here. And I think I should be able to see that in the general section as well. So if I just open this up, and if we go over here, user account was created, subject, new account. Yeah, we actually do see that here as well. So the account name is what? Hacked. That's the account name, which obviously is just too obvious as somebody who creates an account. But for the intents and purposes, they want to make it easy for us to notice these things. But it's the account name or the SAM account name. So that would be the answer to the first question. Now it says which user created the above account. So let's go see what user created the above account. So if we go right here, it says the account name was the administrator that created that above account. So let's see if we can administrator. That is indeed the answer. Excellent. On what date was this user account enabled? So now we want to go and try to find the user account enabled event, which is 4722 is when that user account was enabled. So we're going to go back to our filter right here, and then we're going to change it from 4720 to 4722. And then the events are going to update real quick, and they already did. Okay, so now we want the one where it says when they were enabled, and it's just looking for the date. So I mean, all of these things say 6/7/2024, but we do want to confirm that it's the user account that was indeed enabled. That is the hacker user account. So let's see which one was actually enabled in this particular case. The hacked account was enabled on 6/7/2024. So there we go. So we're going to do 6/7/2024 and press enter on that. Perfect. Now, did this account undergo a password reset as well? The format is either a yes or a no. So we'll just go ahead and verify that as well. So the password reset, an attempt was made to reset an account's password. 4724 would be the event. So we're going to go over here, we're going to filter that out, and we're going to go to 4724, and then we have two events right here, and let's see what accounts they actually belong to. Administrator for the user hacked account name has actually been applied to it, and it says audit success. So that actually means that the user account password was successfully changed. So we're going to say yes to this right here. And there we go. That is our final answer, and we're officially done. So Event Viewer really makes this easy if you weren't able to notice already. It's very, very easy to do something like this, and it's just one of these very invaluable tools that makes Windows so popular among security analysts and companies that have a lot of employees, because it's like a part of the operating system that actually has the event viewer and your ability to search by event IDs and do investigations, etc. So it's very, very user friendly. It comes pre-embedded, it comes standard with the event viewer software, and that allows you to search for various events inside of your event logs. And as you saw, we can see all of the major categories of the event logs.
Hi everybody, good morning. I'm continue doing some rooms from the new Path Cybersecurity 1. I hope I'm trying maybe to do all of them. We'll see. Depend my time. Today I'm doing log fundamental. Learn what logs are and how to analyze them effective. I'm not sure this room. It's subscribe. Okay. You can someone to read. Okay, of course, the logs, as everybody know, whatever it is, if an attack happen or something, you should always have some kind. Here's an example of a CCTV or something, but the idea is to have trace. So whatever you have, uh, like you have Windows, like now we have a Windows machine here. Later on we do a Linux one. So different logs for different events, like for example event security, event monitoring, logs that detect anonymous behavior. We have incident and forensic. Logs are traced to every kind of activity when user login. We see this later on in we need it for troubleshooting, of course, something go wrong. Performance monitoring, it tell you, for example, a query or something, database, audit. This is like that's oh no, that's the room. So logs, that's the whole thing for this room. And then again, this is like introduction room. What's it? Log types. Because we have different log of different type. There is a system log, like in Linux, you have a syslog, the journal, and all of that. Security log, like even in Windows, you have a Windows. We can check. like it. It's what do they call it? Event log. Event viewer, and I forgot. Application log, audit logs, network log, access log for security, and all of that. What's now there have been various other type of logs. Of course, different scenario. You can see Windows logs here. Usually you have these ones, and then you have the other ones if you go more, if you want to go later on from more advanced system. Check now which type of logs uh, contain information regarding incoming traffic. So it means you're talking about network logs here. So this is straightforward. This one usually when you start investigating more Windows stuff, you want to come here, see if there is a sysmon installed. No, SYSST system, there's no sysmon here, so it's normal. Okay, so yeah, you can see, but what's more tested for this room in this security log, what type of logs that contain authentication. Whenever there's authentication, is of course this one, the security logs. Now for example here we have the Windows. If you work with Windows application defier rules, this is sometimes you come here, you have the application. This visit to practice the user target for 7 log the late comes a number of usually 450 positive. Let's see what subject details administrator, and then the next question it tells us on what date was the user account enabled. When can we check it? Because for enable user, Windows has another story. A user account was created, a user account was enabled in 4722. So I can come back here, filter my current log. I can just say, because Windows has too much this little, uh, little, when it, what's the question again? In 6724, so we have account was enabled, so depend user certain pass we can know about it. They give us he said IP address split the top of you have to less for to navigate the, so you know the top. What is the IP there? I'm looking through the get product. Say get from for which one is it? Say the last yeah give me. So this question what about the need to the because remember you can't do it into together because the IP in one thing and then we can pipe it. So this result pipe it again. So only the when was the last so basically And then based on the answer to this question, Trike me is trying to joke with me. I already finished this. They keep saying DEFCON 33. See, after I finish all the room, when I try to redo the videos, always give me DEFCON 33 ticket. But it's not real, it's fake one. Any case, so that's how you play with gap. You can be more smart if you want to extract only certain part, because remember they have spaces here. You can add another, I think, cut or oak. Any case,